Hello and welcome. If you are an international student currently in the United Kingdom, or if you're dreaming of coming here to study, then this video is one of the most important you will watch this year. The UK has long been a top destination for students from all over the world, offering world-class education and incredible life experiences. But the landscape is shifting. The UK Home Office is now sending a very direct, very clear, and very serious message to students. And ignoring it could have devastating consequences for your future, not just here in the UK, but globally. We're going to break down exactly what is happening, why it's happening, and most crucially, what this means for your long-term goals, including the possibility of ever settling in the UK or becoming a British citizen. Stay with me, because you need to understand this.
Inherit a system that was broken really on both asylum and immigration. We're taking a series of practical steps to tackle the chaos and to make sure that we've got a system that is ordered and controlled again. On this particular issue, what we've seen is up to 15,000 students each year end up claiming asylum as they come to the end of their visa, even when things haven't changed in their home country. Then going into the asylum system, sometimes staying there for years, that's also causes problems with asylum accommodation and hotels. That's what we need to fix.
So, what is this all about? In a completely new move, the UK Home Office has started a campaign to directly contact international students. We're not talking about a general announcement. We're talking about direct communication. Around 130,000 students and even their families are being contacted as their visas approach their expiration dates. The goal is to warn them in no uncertain terms what will happen if they remain in the UK after their legal right to be here ends, a status known as overstaying. The message itself is stark and leaves no room for misinterpretation. It reads, and I quote directly from the Home Office communication, "If you submit an asylum claim that lacks merit, it will be swiftly and robustly refused. Any request for asylum support will be assessed against destitution criteria. If you do not meet the criteria, you will not receive support. If you have no legal right to remain in the UK, you must leave. If you don't, we will remove you." Let's unpack that. It's a three-part warning. First, it addresses the specific issue of using asylum claims to extend a stay. Second, it warns that financial support will not be available for those who do not meet the strict criteria for being destitute. And third, the final, unambiguous line, "Leave, or you will be forcibly removed." This is a significant escalation in the government's communication strategy. So, why is the government taking this unprecedented step now? The Home Office has pointed to what it calls an alarming spike in the number of international students who, after legally arriving and completing their studies, then claim asylum as their student visa is about to expire. Let's look at the numbers provided by the Home Office to understand the context. In the year leading up to June 2025, there were 43,600 people who arrived on small boats seeking asylum, which accounted for 39% of all asylum claims. However, another 41,100 asylum claims came from people who entered the country legally on visas. Within that group, the largest single cohort were students. 16,000 asylum claims were made by former students last year. To put that in perspective, that is nearly 6 times the number from the year 2020. While the government acknowledges that many asylum claims are legitimate, it fears that a growing number are being used simply as a mechanism to stay in the country after a visa has run out. This new campaign is a direct attempt to deter what they see as a misuse of the asylum system. This isn't happening in a vacuum. It's part of a much broader political picture. The government is under pressure from opposition parties to take a harder line on all forms of migration. This also follows a recent change that reduced the post-study work visa for overseas graduates, cutting the time they can stay in the UK after their studies from 2 years down to 18 months. Of course, this policy has its critics. The General Secretary of the University and College Union, Joe Grady, has described the campaign as an attack on international students. She argues it has very little to do with visa overstays and is more about political posturing. She stated they should instead be making the case for a welcoming and economically strong Britain, of which international students and a world-leading higher education sector are an integral part. But regardless of the politics, the warning has been issued. And this brings us to the most critical part of our discussion today. What does this mean for your future? How does overstaying, even for a short period, affect your chances of getting indefinite leave to remain, or ILR, and eventually, British citizenship. This is the part that is often overlooked. The consequences of overstaying go far beyond the immediate threat of removal. They can permanently damage your ability to build a future in the UK. Let's talk about indefinite leave to remain, or ILR. ILR is the first major step towards permanent settlement. Most routes to ILR, whether through work, family, or long residence, require a period of continuous lawful residence. The key word there is lawful. The moment your visa expires and you haven't left or submitted a valid, in-time application to extend it, you become an overstayer. By definition, your residence in the UK is no longer lawful. This single act breaks the chain of continuous lawful residence. For something like the 10-year-long residence route to ILR, a single day of overstaying can reset that entire 10-year clock back to zero. The law is incredibly strict on this. Now, let's talk about British citizenship. The path to becoming a British citizen is even more stringent. To apply for citizenship through naturalization, you generally need to have held ILR for at least 12 months. But there's another, much more subjective hurdle. You must satisfy the Home Office that you are of good character. The term good character isn't strictly defined in law, but Home Office guidance makes it clear what it covers. It includes your criminal record, your financial affairs, and, crucially, your adherence to immigration laws. Overstaying your visa is a direct breach of UK immigration law. In fact, it is technically a criminal offence under the Immigration Act of 1971. When you apply for citizenship, you must disclose your entire immigration history, and any record of overstaying will be a significant negative factor in your good character assessment. The Home Office sees a failure to comply with immigration rules as a sign that you do not respect the laws of the country you wish to become a citizen of. So, even if you somehow manage to get ILR despite a past overstay, perhaps through a discretionary application with exceptional circumstances, that overstay will still be a major obstacle for your citizenship application. It creates a permanent mark on your record that can be used to refuse your application on the grounds that you are not of good character. Furthermore, the immediate consequences are severe. If you overstay by more than 30 days and then leave the UK, you can be automatically banned from re-entering for a minimum of 12 months. This ban can extend up to 10 years depending on the circumstances. This makes any future plans to visit, work, or study in the UK incredibly difficult, if not impossible. You also lose the right to work, the right to rent property, and you may even have your bank account closed. So, what should you do? The message is simple: be proactive. Know your visa expiry date and treat it as an absolute deadline. If you plan to leave, make your arrangements well in advance. If you hope to stay, you must seek professional immigration advice and submit any application for a new visa before your current one expires. Relying on a last-minute, non-meritorious asylum claim is, as the Home Office is now explicitly warning, an extremely high-risk strategy that is likely to fail and lead to severe, long-term consequences. In conclusion, this new campaign by the Home Office is a clear signal. The UK government is tightening its enforcement of immigration rules for students. While the UK continues to welcome genuine students, the tolerance for those who bend or break the rules after their studies are complete has diminished significantly. Overstaying is not a minor administrative error. It is a serious breach of law with consequences that can shatter your dreams of ever settling in the UK or becoming a citizen. Your education here is a huge investment. Don't let a poor decision at the end of it jeopardize your entire future. Thank you for watching. I hope this explanation has been helpful. The rules are complex, but understanding them is your best defense. Please share this video with any other international students you know. It's vital information that everyone needs to have. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on UK education and immigration. Stay informed and stay safe.